All right. Why don't you intro it?
Well, so I'll start off by saying I got a text from a buddy who said, give me one good reason I shouldn't bet on the Seahawks in this game. And I said, well, I can think of a couple. So Seahawks taking on the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. According to FanDuel Sportsbook, the Cardinals are favored by 1.5 points. However, you do get equivalent money line values. Both teams currently at minus 108. So this game is a pick 'em. They're not going to set the spread at 0. They had to put somebody there, but both teams minus 108. So if you're looking at this, if I'm evaluating what I've seen from these two teams so far, I think the Seahawks have had a better start to the season. The Seahawks were one of my surprise teams this year. I said that they have a chance to compete for the NFC West title. The only thing that would make me ease up on that is that I thought the 49ers had such an easy schedule. They would get it done. But still, I was like, the Seahawks can be a good team. Sam Darnold was brilliant last weekend. The Seahawks annihilated the Saints. They beat the Steelers by 2 touchdowns. All that looks great. With the Cardinals, it's like, okay, much easier opponents. They beat the Saints. They beat the Panthers. They almost blew it against the Panthers. They lose to Mac Jones in a backup against the 49ers. I get all of that. But we got to keep in mind here, this is a short week, Thursday night game. This is going to be on the road for the Seahawks. I do think the Seahawks are a better team overall, but I think the Cardinals are just like the definition of an average team. And an average team means they're going to play about the same level most of the time. They might lose to a bad team here. They might beat a good team here. They're kind of always going to be at that line. I don't know that we know the Seahawks are any different than that because they did beat the Steelers, who I don't think the Steelers are good. I think Mike Tomlin's 500-plus streak is over. I think the Steelers are going to have a losing record this year. That game looks different because Caleb Johnson fumbled a kickoff and then didn't go to pick up the ball, so the Seahawks scored a touchdown on that. That completely changes how that game looks. And then I'm not going to give them too much credit for beating the worst team in the NFL, the Saints. So I want to see how they look, short week, divisional opponent, and the Cardinals defense is solid. Jonathan Gannon's team is starting to take hold. I'm not convinced Sam Darnold is elite yet. The offense still looks a little unbalanced. Like it's Jaxon Smith-Njigba or nothing. The running game hasn't looked good aside from against the Saints. So for all those reasons, despite me liking the Seahawks, I think I'm actually leaning towards the Cardinals in this game.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals need to pick up a win in this game. Jaxon Smith-Njigba has been tremendous for the Seattle Seahawks, and Sam Darnold's been good. But I look at Arizona. The biggest fear I have with them right now is the James Conner injury. He's out for the season. I still like Kyler Murray. I think they have to throw the ball in this game. That's what it comes down to. We got to try to abandon the run. We got to get Kyler Murray going more in the run, which, again, same problem with the Ravens right now and Lamar Jackson. They're not getting him going enough in that run game, especially now. I think without James Conner, you have to get your quarterback to run the ball. And you also have to have Marvin Harrison Jr. catch some passes because he's dropping balls in the wide open field. But if they put all of it together, I think defensively they can hang in there in this game. And I think offensively they've taken the wrong approach. It's been like, let's not make the big mistake. This is the game where you got to come out, score points. And you can do that against Seattle Seahawks. They don't have the greatest defense in the world as far as passing yards per game go. I know we're still early in the season, but I think this is one where, Kyler's going to be able to throw the football a little bit. I think he's going to have a big game running the ball as well, and it leads them to a win at home.
Yeah, the James Conner injury is definitely big, but I do think this is going to be a lower scoring game. I don't think either offense is going to be at their best. Obviously, the Conner injury playing a part in that for the Cardinals. With Darnold, like we've been talking about, we still don't know Darnold is that guy just because he had one great game against the Saints. Let's wait and see. Also, the JSN, the whole offense seems to flow through him. So if you are able to limit him or say get whatever you want, but nobody else can get the football, then that's going to lower your ceiling a little bit. Jonathan Gannon's defense, like I said, starting to take hold. Jonathan Gannon, we know, was the defensive coordinator with the Eagles when they made that first Super Bowl run, lost to the Chiefs, but all-time team, all-time defense. Well, this season, just looking at kind of how they've implemented his philosophy, they've been really good in the trenches. So they're 12th in pass rush win rate, 11th in run stop win rate, 8th in pass block win rate, 3rd in run block win rate. And as we know in the NFL, if you control the point of attack, more times than not, you're going to win the game. Probably like 60, 70% of the time. If you're winning that initial push, you will win the game. The Seahawks defensive line has been solid, but their offensive line has been suspect, particularly when they are passing the football. And Darnold's trigger happy. He's going to throw some interceptions if you get pressure on him. So if you just heat him up a little bit, you can easily get 2 picks off of him. I think that's what happened in the Steelers game. So for those reasons, yeah, I think it's a low scoring game. Cardinals come out on top.
Cardinals pass defense been terrible though. I think this is a big game for the receivers. I think on both sides. I think both receivers are going to have a big game. I think Marvin Harrison bounces back a little bit, and like he's definitely not that guy either. But I think he bounces back. Trey McBride's going to have a good game. On the flip side, Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to go over 81.5 receiving yards because Cardinals aren't great in secondary, but also he is their entire offense. Like you got to get more out of Cooper Kupp long term if you're Seattle, just to keep them relevant here, because it's going to be hard to survive with one guy. So I'm going to be more on like a higher scoring game. I don't know if it necessarily leads to points, but I think we're going to see a lot of yards, at least between the 20s in this game.
I'm really struggling to figure out why Marvin Harrison does not look good. Like we saw what he did in college. He's got all the tools in the world. He's got the physical frame. He added 15 pounds of muscle. He's getting open. He's not producing.
Well, in college, you're playing against dog water teams. Like you look at some of these Big Ten schedules, they're terrible. They play 6 cupcakes in like 2 hard games. I don't know if that plays into it. I mean, 6'3", 220 really has not looked good last year. 62 receptions, 885, 8 touchdowns. Let's see what he did in college. So he had 12-11, 1263, 14 touchdowns. He was great at Ohio State. I also think too, and I hate to say this, I'm not saying he wasn't worthy of being a first-round draft pick, but your last name means so much. It means so much. And he probably is still a first-round draft pick. He's 6'3", 220, putting up 1,200 yards at Ohio State, but your last name means so much.
We're seeing that with Arch Manning.
Yeah. And Arch is going to be better. Arch is getting that Sam Houston game. I love that.
Oh my, I bet you do. Running over and flexing on a future car salesman.
Just quick segue here with the Texas Longhorns. I think you need that though. Like usually I would say, no, I don't like that. But right now for Arch Manning, he needs to do that. He needs to play with some confidence, because if you start to play with confidence, he's going to be better and better. I don't agree with Texas's like Twitter, the Texas football Twitter posting it all week, like Arch aura. Like they did that multiple times with this shit. Like that's embarrassing. But as far as just Arch, I think we're good there. I think he's going to start being better. I think he needs to play with a little swagger like that. It doesn't matter who it's against.
You see his mom called him out. She said she didn't like that he did that.
Yeah, I did. That's good. That's good. I mean, he'll be good. Arch will be fine. But yeah, the last name means so much. Like Arch is a first-year starting quarterback. I think in 2 years or 1 year, whatever it takes with Arch, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football. But right now, he is a first-year starting quarterback.
So getting back on track here with the Thursday night game, let's talk about some props and some other picks. Well, actually, first of all, you're taking the Cardinals money line? Is that correct?
I'll take the Cardinals money line. I don't feel good about it, but I'll take the Cardinals money line. I think it's a good live betting game. This kind of strikes me as like the Arizona-San Francisco game a little bit. There's going to be moments to live bet either team, so whatever you like, I would just wait and see. But I'll take the Cardinals.
Okay, so for some props here, I'm going to start it off with Trey Benson under on his rushing yards, which I believe is at 60.5. James Conner is injured. I get that. But just because a player's getting elevated in status doesn't mean they're getting better. Trey Benson, last game against the 49ers, 10 carries, 42 yards, averaged 4.2 yards per carry. This is only his second season. As a rookie, he had 63 carries for 291 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. He's going to get more opportunities. Like, yeah, he's going to get 10 to 12, but he got 10 last week, and he was still 20 yards short of the line. Also, we know the Cardinals, they're going to use this split system. They've been giving some work to DeMarcado already, so I think he's going to get a bigger role in the offense. And then, like you said, the running game with Kyler Murray. I feel like that has to play a big part here. You also just got to pass the ball more. I think that's the way this goes. So even though I do like the Cardinals, as I mentioned several times, I think it is a defensive game, and Benson's going to stay under.
I like that. So my first prop here is going to be, I want to say Marvin Harrison Jr. over, but I'm going to go Jaxon Smith-Njigba over. I'm more confident in him to hit 81.5. The Cardinals secondary has not been good this season. When you look how Seattle plays offensively, it's literally one guy, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I think Cooper Kupp, like I was saying before, has to get more involved moving forward. But as we've seen it so far, JSN has just been a machine. So I will go JSN over the receiving yards.
Okay, fair enough, but never a bad time. JSN, you remember the meme of him after the Rose Bowl, I think it was, where he had like 360 yards or whatever?
Yes. No, I don't know. Have not seen it.
I don't. You can look it up. Let me see, because I actually want to know now. I want to get the exact number right. But yeah, anytime I see someone taking Jaxon Smith-Njigba overs, I always think of that picture.
I would have never guessed that he would be this good in the NFL.
See, I thought he could be, but the fact that he is actually, it's never a guarantee. It's never okay. So against Utah, 15 receptions, 347 yards, 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl.
Nice. Yeah, I liked him coming out, and obviously the rookie season didn't go the way he wanted to go because of an injury. But I thought he was going to be like rookie of the year sort of vibes, but I didn't think he'd turn into one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. And it's still like, I don't look at the problem is like when you play in Seattle, I don't look at you as one of the best receivers in the NFL. I can't like DK Metcalf. I never could look at him as one of the best guys in the NFL because he plays in Seattle.
See, I've always believed DK is a little overrated though. So I think that's different.
But I still will never believe Jason. Like he kind of strikes me at he's going to be like an Amon-Ra St. Brown guy. Like he's one of the best, but like he doesn't come to mind because like he's not a diva. Like
he's not a diva. He's not like a prototypical X receiver, but he's also not a slot. He's kind of moving around. It's a very unique sort of skill set. The Amon-Ra thing's a great comparison there.
Yeah, they're very, very similar. And yeah, I think he's going to be really good, but playing in Seattle. I don't know. Seattle is just like the biggest, like forget about team in the NFC.
So my second prop, I'm going to go Sam Darnold under. Yes, Sam Darnold under 217.5 passing yards.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know the Cardinals, they're 30th. They're giving up 264 passing yards per game. That should tell you something. Let me just say that. The fact the Cardinals are allowing 264, Darnold's line's at 217 when he's already gone over this twice this season. He had 150 in the opener, 295 against the Steelers in week 2. He had 218, so he got over by half a yard against the Saints. Granted, they didn't have to throw the ball that much because they were up by so many points. But still, like I said, I do think the Cardinals defense is going to get after Darnold. The Seahawks pass blocking has been really bad. I think their offense is very limited. And when they can't set up the offense, when they can't run the ball to set up the offense, I think that is going to add strain to Darnold. He's going to make some unwise decisions. Like I said, I expect at least 1 interception. So I'll take him under. I've got to stay true to myself here. If this is going to be a defensive game, I got to bet some unders on the props.
I think it's more offensive, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Trey Benson over 22.5 receiving yards. You look at what James Conner was used as. It was a pass catcher out of the backfield for a lot of offensive game plan, a lot of strategy there. So I think Trey Benson steps into that role pretty easily, catches the football. You look at what Arizona has down the field. If Marvin Harrison's catching the ball, you got to defend that. You got Trey McBride as well. So there should be opportunities for Kyler to dump it down. And that seems like it's his favorite pass in the book right now. So if Trey Benson is open underneath, I do think we're going to get that. I also think they're going to be in 3rd and long a good amount of times in their own territory. That's going to create some screen opportunities there for Benson to go over this line.
I think that's a really smart pick. I haven't even looked at the line, so I can't say to bet the over, but I would also just see what DiMercato is at because I think it's going to be the same thing. Thing is, you get more work, and Arizona does love to get their running backs involved in the passing game, kind of like Miami in that respect. So I do like that a lot. My final prop, I'll take Torrey. This is kind of a flyer. I always like to put some sort of high-value prop in there just to see. I'll like Torrey Horton anytime touchdown score because he scored touchdowns in 2 straight games. Last week, he actually caught a pass and he returned a punt, I think 95 yards for a touchdown. So clearly it's a rookie, it's a 5th round pick, but I think they are going to try to get him more involved because the dynamic between JSN and Cooper Kupp isn't perfect. Like there is still a need for someone who can operate outside the numbers. Torrey Horton can be that guy. Only 2 catches in week 2, 3 catches last week, but you are seeing the workload start to go up a little bit. The fact that he is catching touchdowns shows Darnold trusts him. And for plus 400, considering he's scoring 2 weeks in a row and he's going to get some opportunities, I think this is good value.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good play by you. It's almost 4-1 here. So it's a nice play. I don't know if it's going to happen, but you like these long shot touchdown scores. So
I mean, I took Rashad Bateman anytime touchdown last night, and that cashed in 1st quarter, 2nd quarter. So, yeah.
There you go. I like Kyler Murray over 240.5 combined passing plus rushing yards in this game. You look at him so far this season, he's only gone over that one time against Carolina Panthers, threw for 220 and then rushed for another 32 yards there. But this is a game now you don't have James Conner, so you can't just lean on him. I think it's one where you have to throw the ball down the field a little bit, especially if the game develops how I think it's going to develop, where the Seahawks are going to throw the ball. Arizona's going to have to put up points. This isn't going to be the last week's iteration of the Arizona Cardinals going against the San Francisco 49ers, where both teams are playing clock control. I think this is one where they're going to come out, sling the football around a little bit. And also, Kyler Murray is going to be better if you get him involved in the run game. So I think between those two things, I'll take him over 240.5.
I think that is a smart pick, and it goes well if we're taking the Cardinals to win this game.
Yep, there we go.